Hello boys and girls, welcome back. So last class May we are done with entire section of 232. Now let us talk about one particular subsection which I have left in section 232. So the subsection is 232 subsection. Now 232 subsection 6 is talking about appointed date. Now sometimes we also call this as effective date. Now what is this appointed date or what is this effective date? Let us try to understand. So I did show you some schemes of compromise oblique arrangement which were involving merger, amalgamation or reconstruction. So generally I told you sir, it is the discretion of what sir the companies to decide what date should be written as appointed date or effective date in the scheme. Generally what is this appointed date? What is this effective date sir? It is that date on which this scheme will become effective, or you can say it is on this day transferee company will have full control over whom sir transferor company sir. So in other words, you can say that complete amalgamation will come to an end. Or you can say that in this day, we will be acquiring control over whom sir the other company. Generally, as per the section sir, it is full discretion given to whom sir parties. Parties मतलब transferor, transferee company sir कि भैया आप लोग decide कर लो what should be your appointed date or effective. Okay, let's try to read the provision again sir. So what is the provision talking about sir? 230 subsection 6 देखिए. So the scheme under this section, scheme मतलब क्या sir? Scheme which is for the purpose of what? Amalgamation, merger or reconstruction. Scheme under this section shall clearly, so it should clearly specify an appointed date for which it shall be effective. Here what do you mean by it sir? It is nothing but scheme only. So subsection 6 says what sir? Whenever parties, that is transferor company, transferee company, and whenever they are coming to an arrangement for one particular compromise oblique arrangement with respect to merger, amalgamation, reconstruction sir, they should clearly specify what will be their appointed date sir. So the scheme under this section shall clearly indicate an appointed date from which scheme shall become effective. Scheme shall become effective. Effective matlab kya sir? It will come to force, come into force. So whatever is written, that entire thing will come into force, and the scheme shall deemed to be effective from such day. So here the word used is deemed to be effective from such day. Such date matlab that date which you have mentioned in the scheme, and not at a date subsequent to the appointed date. Okay. So here maybe most of you might have not understood what exactly I'm trying to tell you, sir, but still some idea you might have definitely got sir. The simple way mein, if I have to tell you sir, appointed date ko you can also call as effective date. This date you have to mention in your compromise oblique arrangement involving merger, amalgamation or reconstruction sir. Sir, parties are having full discretion. What is what I'm using sir? Parties are having full discretion to mention whatever date they are of the view sir in the compromise oblique arrangement scheme sir. Okay sir, it is this day we will be saying that this merger has become effective, this amalgamation has become effective sir. Okay, now सर इसके ऊपर देर वेर सम डिपार्टमेंट क्लैरिफिकेशन. डिपार्टमेंट मतलब हियर एमसीए वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सर. सो 2019 में 9th सर्कुलर में दे हैव गिवन दिस clarification. So what is the clarification which MCA has given sir? Now if I read, it is very lengthy clarification have given sir. So many points are mentioned here, but usse pehle I would like to take some examples sir. So what is the point we are talking about sir? Scheme mein you should mention one date. That date will be also, that will be called as appointed date or effective date. From this day your scheme will become effective sir. Okay sir, now department ka clarification, that is MCA clarification. Point number 1 sir. The provision of section 232 subsection 6 of the act enables the companies in question matlab that company which is proposing the scheme sir. So can I say both transferor oblique transferee sir? So companies in question to choose. So can I say we are giving you the choice sir to choose and state in the scheme an appointed date sir. Okay, very good. Next point they are saying sir, the appointed date can be a specific calendar date, or the appointed date can be a date which is tied to occurrence of a particular event. Tied to matlab kya sir? It is based on a particular event sir. Okay, very good. Now these points I will discuss subsequently. These points I will discuss subsequently. So right now, what is the understanding we have got, sir? The appointed date which parties have to choose, sir. That appointed date can be either of the two, sir. What? It can be a specific calendar date, or it can be a particular date which is based on a particular event, sir. Event matlab on an happening of a particular thing, sir. That scheme will become effective, sir. Now, sir, that event can be whether with respect to grant of license from the authority, or fulfillment of any precondition agreed between the parties, or meeting of any other requirements as agreed upon the parties, etc., which are relevant to the scheme. Now, so what I have done, sir, we have taken some examples of compromise oblique arrangement schemes of companies, sir. So let us try to see what exactly we are talking about, sir. So here presently I am having one compromise oblique arrangement scheme of Equitas Holding Limited and Equitas Small Finance Bank. So this is a company which is in Tamil Nadu, sir. So Chennai mein they are having their office, sir. So these two companies have come to one understanding, or these two companies have come to one compromise oblique arrangement, sir. Now, sir, when I have gone through this entire scheme of arrangement, it is available on the website of Equitas Small Finance Bank, sir. So when I have went through this particular compromise oblique arrangement scheme, sir, they did mention point of appointed date, sir. So what is appointed date? Appointed date means effective date. Now presently I will not read this, I am keeping this on hold. So their clause, their para 2.4 is saying what, sir? Appointed date means effective date. Now these are extracts of what, sir? This compromise scheme, sir. Okay, very good. Second, when we have seen the definition clause in the same agreement with respect to effective date, what they are saying, sir? Effective date means the date or the last of the dates on which authenticated copies or certified copies of order of NCLT sanctioning the scheme is filed with the ROC Chennai, Tamil Nadu, by whom both the companies. Any references in the scheme to on the scheme becoming effective or upon the scheme becoming effective or effectiveness of the scheme shall be referred to that particular date, sir. Now my question to you people is this, sir. Sir, when this company has drafted their scheme of arrangement, sir, or compromise, did this company mention any specific calendar date, or they have mentioned a particular date which is tied upon a event, sir? So now you people have to decide, sir, whether this company has mentioned any particular specific calendar date, or did they say ki our effective date will be based on a particular event, sir? Now tell me, sir. Sir, in these 2 points, which point do you feel is satisfied? So date is a specific date here, or it is a date based on occurrence of events. So can I say if it is a specific date, exact date you should mention, but they did not mention exact date, sir. Agreed or not, sir? So obviously this is point number B wala, sir. Is this allowed? Can I say department clarification is also saying the same thing. You can have a specific date of effectiveness, sir, or you can mention a particular date which is based on what, sir? A event. Now my question to you people is here, what is the event, sir? Here event is tribunal sanctioning the scheme. Second is, sir, after sanctioning the scheme they have to file the copies of what, sir? Sanctioned scheme with whom, sir? ROC, concerned ROC. When I say there are two companies, both the companies have to file the copies with ROC, sir. If you remember, section 232 subsection 5 was talking about that only, sir. What? Every company in relation to which the order is made, which order is made, sir? That sanction order is made, sir, shall cause a certified copy of the order to be filed with the ROC for registration within 30 days from the date of certified copy of order. Here important word is what, sir? Every company. So here every company matlab kya, sir? That company which is involved in compromise oblique arrangement and for the purpose of merger, amalgamation, reconstruction. So obviously here it will be transfer our company and transfer a company, sir. So both the companies have to file that approved sanction scheme with whom, sir? Their concerned ROCs. Agreed? How many days may they should file, sir? Within 30 days from the date when the scheme is sanctioned by whom, sir? Tribunal, sir. Earlier I told you 1956 Act में it was court. Now the power has been given to tribunal, sir. So just then you make the filing, sir. From that day, है ना? This scheme is saying that will be our effective. So don't you think here effective date is tied up to a particular event? First thing is tribunal should sanction the scheme. Second thing is after sanctioning they should file the scheme, sir. With whom, sir? ROC. That day will be an effective date for this people. Agreed? So now tell me, sir, so you are saying that this is tied up to an event, sir. Now tell me, sir, is it based on grant of license? Answer is no, because no competent authority mention is given here. Do you think this is based on some fulfillment of any precondition? Answer is yes. Both the parties have put one precondition. What, sir? If this scheme will be effective, this scheme will be effective when, sir? When we file the copies with whom, sir? ROC. So can I say in my example, sir, this point number 2 is getting fulfilled, sir. And so this is point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, sir. So event date can be a grant of license, or event date can be fulfillment of particular precondition. So present case may it is fulfillment of present invention. Or same example you can use for third point also, meeting of any other requirement. What is the requirement, sir? Filing with whom, sir? ROC. So either you fit my present example in point 2 or in point 3, but it is based on event only. So therefore, is this a requirement or not, sir? So for scheme to become effective, most important requirement was what, sir? You have to file the consent scheme with whom, sir? ROC, sir. So this present example you can go with second point also or third point. I hope you understood, sir. Sir, again I am trying to tell you, effective date is the date on which this particular amalgamation will become effective. This particular reconstruction will become effective. This particular what you say, merger will become what, sir? Effective, sir. Okay, chaliye. Let me take one more example of one particular company. So here it is tied to a particular event, sir. So this is not a specific calendar date. It is tied to a event, sir. Okay. Let's take example number 2, sir. Now this is a compromise oblique arrangement involving merger, acquisition, reconstruction of these two companies, sir. So who are these companies, sir? Tata Teleservices, and next is your Bharti Airtel, sir. Okay, so in दोनों के बीच में there is a compromise also involving their shareholders and creditors. Okay, very good. And 230 से लेकर 232 का compliance is required. Now when you go through their scheme, sir, उसमें you will be finding this particular point, sir. Now appointed date, next effective date, then condition precedent. So all these three are extract from their compromise oblique arrangement wala scheme. Now what is the point they have written? Appointed date means either of what? Effective date. Now again this point I am keeping on hold. So it will be, if you read only this much part, sir, appointed date will be effective date, sir. देखिए, effective date means the date on which the scheme takes effect in accordance with clause 9. In other words, effective date is again tied up to an event. Now those events are mentioned in what, sir? Clause number 9 of the same agreement. References in this scheme. Now whenever this scheme is talking about coming into effect and a scheme becoming effective, it means from when date will become effective. Whatever written in ninth point gets fulfilled, sir. Now what is written in ninth point? Let us see, sir. The effectiveness of this scheme shall be conditional upon satisfaction or waiver of the following conditions. Now you have to understand which two companies were involved here. One is a Tata Teleservices and another wala was what, sir? Airtel, sir. Okay. So what is the point they have mentioned, sir? देखिए, shall take into effect latter of any of this date. So here also one date will be there. Here also one date will be there. Here also one date will be there. जिसका भी latter है, that date will be called as what, sir? That date will be an effective date, sir. Because when we were reading appointed date, they said appointed date will be determined in the effective date, sir. Effective date will be which date, sir? All those conditions which are given in section 9 gets fulfilled, then that will be an effective date. Now let us see what are the preconditions, or you can say events, sir. देखिए, written approval from Department of Telecommunication. So can I say those two companies are nothing but what, sir? Telecom companies. So obviously they have to get necessary approvals from whom, sir? Department of Telecommunication. So what they are writing, sir, the date on which we get Department of Telecommunication ka approval, that will be the date on which we will be saying that this entire scheme of amalgamation reconstruction is effective, sir. Okay, so this is one date. Now imagine a scenario, this happens to be on, say for example, 1/5/2023, sir. Just a random date. On this day, Department of Telecommunication gives the approval to both the companies. Okay, Or next point, sir, it will be date of certified copies of order is filed with respective what is the orders of respective NCLT sanctioning the scheme being filed with respective ROCs. In other words, now they are saying what, sir? Department of Telecommunication giving the approval. Okay, very good, sir. Next they are saying what, sir? Tribunal sanctioning the scheme, and that sanction scheme we are filing with whom, sir? ROC. Now imagine, sir, filing has happened on 1/4/2000, say for example 23, sir. Okay, so 1/4/2023 ko filing has happened, and 1/5/2023 ko Department of Telecommunication has given us the approval, sir. Okay, sir, is this possible? Answer yes. Why not, sir? So applications were made to tribunal also, applications were made to Department of Telecommunication also, sir. दोनों को approval application तो दे दिया है, sir. But thing is what? DOT, Department of Telecommunication, has given approval subsequently, sir. Is this practical life mein happening, sir? Yes, it has happened in this particular case, sir. Or execution of an agreement between the parties in relation to the scheme and fulfillment of waiver of conditions with execution of agreement, sir, between the parties. So they are trying to enter into some agreement, it seems, sir. So imagine this has also happened on the same date, which is 1/4/2023. Now my question to you people is, here effective date will be which date, sir? Can I say effective date is putting ninth wala point into condition, sir, and ninth wala point is saying what? Letter of any of these dates. So can I say these three dates mein whichever is the letter, which is the latest date, sir? Can I say 1/5/2023? This is the date on which this scheme will become effective, and this is our appointed date. Again, do you think a specific calendar date is mentioned here? Answer is no. It is also based on tied up to multiple events. Agreed or not, sir? Now, sir, here my question to you people is, yes, it is event based, है ना? But now tell me, is it event based and depending upon approval of regulators? Answer is yes. You have seen this, sir. Sir, depending on any precondition? Answer is yes, sir. So what I am trying to show you is, sir, all these three examples are fitting in our particular example, sir. देखो, sir, appointed date in the case of Tata Telephone Services was event based. It was mentioning about grant of license, that is approval from DOT, sir. It was mentioning about precondition also. What was the precondition, sir? Filing the scheme with whom, sir? ROC, sir. Or meeting of any other requirement as agreed between the parties. What was the requirement, sir? Execution of agreement. Remember, execution of agreement, sir. So that was the case, sir. Don't you think all these 3 points are mentioned in the Tata Teleservices versus Airtel wala scheme of arrangement? So can I say whichever is later has become our effective? So in other words, what is that I want to tell you, sir? Sir, simple hai. Even department is saying, many case laws were also mentioning, sir, कि our event date, or you can say our appointed date, need not be a specific calendar date. It can be a specific calendar date also, or it can be a particular date which is tied up to an event. Sir, why this whole problem came, because 232 subsection 6 was clearly saying what, sir? Okay, so let me now go with this thing. Okay, so 232 subsection 6 was clearly saying what, sir? You should have a, what do you say, appointed date should be clearly indicative. Now my question to you people is, I have shown you two schemes, sir. In both the schemes, don't you think exact date was not mentioned? What was mentioned, sir? A date which is based on event. So is this allowed? Now circular says it is allowed, sir. Even though section says clear date hai, clear date does not matlab means that you should write exact calendar date. You can write calendar date also, you can write that date which is tied to a particular event, sir. I hope point 1 of circular and point 2 of circular is understood. So when you are writing a date which is tied to a particular event, sir, that can be a date on which you receive approval from the regulators. Example, sir, in Equitas case, sir, when you talk about not this particular what you say merger, sir, इससे पहले there happened one more what you say merger of Equitas with another company, sir. Sir, in that merger's case, what they have mentioned was, our scheme will be effective from the date on which RBI gives us license to operate as a small finance bank, sir. So can I say here also it is based on particular event? Yes, and that too and based on grant of licenses. So that is a point, sir. Remember, sir, whatever if that is working, that would be great enough. Okay, it's open now. So whatever I have shown you, sir, here, do you think these examples which I told you, see, this is what you have to fulfill. Now whatever is mentioned here, point number 1 2 3, sir, these are only examples. Such as मतलब क्या sir, ये examples है. It says that event can be grant of license, event can be a precondition, or event can be any other agreement. So do you think you can have a fourth point also? Answer is yes, because the word used here is such as, sir. So here most important thing is what, sir? Tied up to a event, sir. Sir, अब I would like to ask you one serious question, sir. Sir, you have mentioned appointed date in the scheme. Cool. Sir, is tribunal having power to make alteration in your appointed date? Whatever date you are choosing as an appointed date in the scheme, sir, do you think tribunal ke paas that power is there to make modification in it? My answer is yes. So tribunal is having power, sir. There's a reason, if you see, sir, in the case of Equitas case, sir, appointed date may what they have mentioned, sir, appointed date means effective date. Okay, now this I kept on hold, now I am changing this, or such other date as determined by whom, sir? मतलब we have selected this. If at all NCLT को practically लगता है this date is not feasible enough, sir, they can suggest another date, sir. So our appointed date will be either this day or that day which is told by tribunal. Imagine if tribunal does not give any date, sir, so can I say this will be our effective date or this will be our appointed? Is this point clear? Okay, chaliye. So up to here I guess things are clear. Now I would like to give you up to this points I have explained, sir. Now I would like to give you some practical examples, sir. Now, sir, imagine एक particular company का, say for example, I took an example, if you remember, sir, yesterday's class में or previous class में, if you remember, say for example, Jio and Airtel are now merging, sir. Jio and Airtel are forming a new company which is Jiotel. So I told you this is an example of amalgamation, sir. Okay, sir, imagine these two companies का scheme of what is a scheme of compromise oblique arrangement involving merger, amalgamation, reconstruction. This was mentioned, sir. And this is what it has happened practically, sir. So first point is date of filing of compromise oblique arrangement for the purposes of MAR with tribunal, sir. MAR matlab merger, amalgamation, reconstruction. With whom, sir? Tribunal. So I am just giving you some dates, sir. So इसको टाइमलाइंस में भी लगा देते, सर. So what has happened, sir? 1/5/23 को application was filed. Very good, sir. Sir, tribunal has given the approval for conducting the meeting. Meeting was conducted, resolutions were passed, and all the resolutions were approved also, sir. So when it was approved, sir, 1/12/2023 को, you can see approval has happened. Now when I say approval has happened, can I say majority in a number, 3/4 in value? If you remember, those conditions were given in 230 subsection 6. 230 subsection 6. Okay, next. Third wala point, sir, filing of petition, sir. So can I say because the scheme was approved by whom, sir? Members, creditors in their respective meeting. Now we have filed a petition with whom, sir? Tribunal, praying that okay, tribunal sir, and please sanction our scheme. Okay, sir, tribunal has sanctioned our scheme on 30/12/2023. Okay, sir, can I say from this day next 30 days के अंदर you have to file the scheme with whom, sir? Your concerned ROC. So 30 days was the time limit, but we have done before 30 days only. 25/1/23, sir. So this should be 24, sir. So printing error. So okay, this is 23 only. So this should be 24, sir. Okay, now, sir, now this is what actual things which has happened, sir. Now imagine, sir, this company in their compromise oblique arrangement, sir, can they mention either of the dates as appointed date, sir? Can they mention 1/4/2022 as their appointed date? Can they mention? Now all these are or, sir. You have to give answer. Can this be an appointed date? Is this possible? Now, if you say, last say let's talk, first say we'll talk about sir 1/4/2022. Can I say 1/4/2022 matlab kya? Application was filed on 1/5/23 sir. You want this to be backdated. In other words, you want this scheme of merger, amalgamation, reconstruction to be effective backdated sir. So can I say 1/4/2022 sir? Or I have given one more date which is 5/4/2023. Again this is backdated only 5/4 sir. So this is one date, this is one date sir. Next 10/12. Can I say 10/12 is forming somewhere here sir. So this is the date 1/1/2023 sir. This is 24 now 1/1/2024. So can I say somewhere here it will come here 1/1/2024. 14 to 2024. Can I say this will be subsequently 14 to 2024 sir. Okay. So now my question to you people is, can this be our effective date? Now, so my answer would be yes for entire things. Yes for entire things. Because the wordings used in the circular phase was sir, the effective date, appointed date can be any specific calendar date. Can I say in the scheme specifically they have mentioned that we want our scheme to be effective from 1/4, 5/4, 10/12, 1/1, 14/2. So don't you think this should be allowed or not sir? Answer is yes. All these things के लिए answer is yes. But sir circular में some clarifications are also given sir. So let's see. Third point ko I am not taking now. I am putting this on hold sir. Now let us see specific calendar date के ऊपर what more circular talks about sir. Where the appointed date is a specific calendar date. In our example that was the case. So now what they are saying sir, appointed, it मतलब क्या sir, appointed date may precede the date of filing. तो इसका मतलब your appointed date can be an earlier date of your date of filing also sir. So here in my example date of filing was what sir, 1/5/2020. But my appointed date, can I say in one case it was 1/4/22, in one case it was 5/4/23 sir. So both are allowed. But let's see more further points. So it can precede the date of filing of the application for the scheme of merger or amalgamation in MCA. Very good. But now let's see what is the second point talking about. Conditions to be fulfilled if appointed date is significantly antedated. Antedated matlab backdate, or you can say earlier date. That is beyond a year from the date of filing. Beyond a year from the date of filing, sir. So what he is saying, sir, if your appointed date is a earlier date, and how much earlier sir, from the date of filing and the date which you have selected, if gap is what do you say 1 year or more than one, beyond 1 year, so it is more than 1 year sir, then these two conditions you have to fulfill. What are the two conditions sir? You have to give the justification, and that should be in the public interest. Okay, justification for the same be specified in the scheme, and it should not be against the public interest. In other words, what is that we are trying to say sir? See, generally you can select any date as your appointed. It can be a date after the date of filing of application. It can be a date before the date of filing of application. So if you are filing an application, if it is before the dates are allowed, but if at all gap between the date of filing of application for compromise oblique arrangement and your appointed date, if at all it is beyond 1 year, beyond 1 year, so can I say in my example sir, sir, application was filed on 1/5/23 sir. Can I say first date is 1/4/2022 sir? Can I say is it backdated? Answer is yes, it is an earlier date sir. Ante date it is. And sir, is it beyond 1 year? Answer is yes, beyond 1 year sir. Sir, ऐसे situation में now in that scheme you should also mention the justification sir. Why and a tribunal should allow you to have this particular date sir. So tribunal will sanction the scheme sir only if two conditions are fulfilled. Justification is there and also it is in the public interest. अगर ये दोनों चीज if you can fulfill sir, then can I say even this date is allowed sir. Now can 5/4/2023 be allowed sir? Answer is yes. Can I say 1/5/23 ko you are filing the application sir, here only your date is coming sir, 5/4/2023 sir. Is it antedate? Answer is yes. But don't you think it is not significantly antedated? Why sir? Gap is not 1 year sir. So here this is allowed and no justification. Need not be given. No justification is allowed, sir. Can it be after this date? Answer is yes. So all these things are allowed, sir. So that is what your circular says, sir. So देखिए, I hope you understood this point, sir. So case one was what, sir? If your appointed date is a specific calendar date, sir. So can I say specific calendar date hai? It can be any particular date. It can be date prior to the date of filing an application also. Backdated effective date is also possible. Appointed date is also possible, sir. But if at all it is significantly antedated, what do you mean by significantly antedated? That is beyond 1 year from the date of filing, sir. ऐसे situation में justification in the scheme should be given, and that should not be against the public interest. In other words, it should be in the public interest. Clear है बच्चा? Next. Now let us see more clarification with respect to event dates. चलिए. Now let's see, sir, where the appointed date is tied to an occurrence of an event, which I have already taken two examples in my start of the exam class, sir. Can I say one? I took Equitas ka example, another I took Airtel ka example. If the appointed date mentioned in the scheme is based on occurrence of a triggering event, what was a triggering event, sir? In the case of Equitas, triggering event was what, sir? Sanctioning of the scheme plus filing with ROC, sir. In the case of Airtel, it was what, sir? Sanctioning of the scheme plus filing with ROC, Department of Telecommunication, and execution of agreement, sir. So it is based on some triggering event which is key to the proposed scheme, sir. Then such event should be indicated in the scheme. Can I say you should specifically write what event is what you are waiting for, sir? So we have specifically mentioned, no, we are waiting for a DOT ka application, we are waiting for sanction of tribunal, we are waiting for that particular agreement to be executed. Clearly आपको लिखना पड़ेगा, sir. Okay, so I guess this is very simple, sir. Next point they are saying, sir. So till now, if you remember, sir, once that scheme is sanctioned, so what we generally do, sir, within 30 days, both the companies has to file that scheme with whom, sir? ROC. What is the purpose, sir? To register, to intimate the ROC कि एक sanction वाला scheme has been, sorry, एक particular scheme for compromise oblique arrangement is been approved by whom, sir? ROC, sorry, tribunal, and we are asking ROC to register it. Now let's see what is this specific point talking about. If such event is such event based date is a date subsequent to the date of filing, okay, subsequent to date of filing the order with ROC, then company shall file an intimation of the scheme same with the ROC within 30 days of such scheme coming into force, sir. Now what exactly he is trying to say here, sir? इसके लिए भी I have one example with you. देखिए इधर, sir, again I have given you all the previous example ka points only, sir. Only change you have to make here is this is also 24, this is also 24, sir. Okay, so 1/5/23 ko application was made, 1/12 ko shareholders have given the approval, creditors have given the approval, 10/12 ko application for petition was filed for approving the that is sanctioning the scheme, 31/12 ko sanction has happened, 25/1 ko certified copy was given to ROC, 1/5 को Department of Telecommunication has given us the approval, sir. And the Telecom Authority has given the approval, sir. Now remember, TRI is a authority. TRI is a authority, and DOT department, it is a department of government, sir. Whatever TRI says, and that has to be implemented by DOT. So DOT is subordinate to TRI, sir. Okay, so that one small point you should understand. Now, sir, I gave you all these points. When you looked at compromise oblique arrangement scheme of this particular company, it clearly mentioned that effective date will be the date on which written approvals for transactions specified in the scheme are obtained from DOT. Can I say this point I have borrowed from Airtel and what do you say, teleservices, Tata teleservices ka scheme, sir. So this is what it was written. Other things were not given. Only this much was given. I wanted to keep things simplified, sir. So this is what it was mentioned, sir. Now tell me, sir, which date will be effective date, sir? Can you tell me, sir, which date will be effective date? Obviously, effective date will be 1/5/2024, sir. Agreed or not, sir? Yes. Now tell me, sir, ROC के पास did you file an application? Answer is yes. When did you file, sir? 25/1/2024. Now my question to you people is, when you have filed the application with ROC, sir, on that day, did scheme become effective? Answer is no. Scheme was not effective, sir. But the only thing is sanction was obtained. So now can I say you have only registered that order, sir. But can I say scheme became effective? That information is not there with ROC, sir. So now what is this condition? Circular is saying, sir, if at all your effective date is subsequent, if at all your effective date is subsequent, here effective date matlab which is tied up to an event, if at all your appointed date or effective date which is tied to an event, and that event occurs after the filing with ROC, after the filing with whom, sir? ROC, sir. Then from the date of effective date within 30 days, again you have to intimate to ROC, sir. Have to tell the ROC also, no, that date has come. Which date has come? That effective date has come and our scheme has become effective, sir. उनको बताना तो पड़ेगा ना भाई. So don't you think in this case two filings will be done, sir? One filing is just to intimate about the sanctioning of the scheme. Second filing from this date. Which date, sir? The date on which TRAI gives the approval. 1/5/2024 plus 30 days. Again I have to do another filing with ROC telling them कि भैया ROC our date मतलब our scheme has become effective. We are just intimating. So can I say this is one second condition which is given in what you say our circular, sir. Okay. So देख लेना what compliances are required. So only compliance is what, sir? Effective date is 1/5/2024. 1/5/2024. So additional compliance in this case is to intimate ROC about effective date, that is scheme coming into force within 30 days from 1/5/2023. I hope you understood this point, sir. So देख लीजिए आप. If such event, which event, sir? Department of Telecommunication का approval is subsequent to date of filing of order with ROC, date of filing of order with ROC, so then company shall intimate the same to ROC within 30 days. I hope you understood. But imagine a scenario in this example, sir. If Department of Telecommunication has given the approval, say for example on in between these two dates, sir, मतलब sanction के बाद before filing, sir. Say for example on 5/1/2024, sir. Sanction, sorry, Department of Telecommunication has given the approval, sir. Do you think now I have to again second filing is required? No. Can I say sanctioning has happened and you have filed the scheme also with whom, sir? ROC, sir. Is this point clear, sir? So this is what you have to understand. So अगर I have to give you one conclusion, अगर I have to give you one conclusion, sir, what would be the conclusion? क्या conclusion I can provide you, sir? Let's see. So conclusion is very simple, sir. Now this 5 minutes will give you entire summary of what we have discussed in 40 minutes, sir. See, effective date should be clearly be specified in the agreement, sir. Effective date, or you can say appointed date. Till now only this was written in 232 subsection 6. Then comes 9/2019 wala circular of whom, sir? MCA. Now that circular says what? Effective date can be a calendar date. Effective date can be a date which is event based. So on an occurrence of an event, that date also it can be. Then this can be a date before filing of application. This can be a date after filing of application. Okay. If at all you have mentioned the date which is before filing of application, sir, and if it is significantly antedated, sir, है ना? Antedate मतलब more than मतलब बहुत ही backdated है, sir. Significantly antedated, that is beyond 1 year, sir. ऐसा situation में they are saying what, sir? Two things you have to prove, sir. One is justification of the scheme, and you should prove that it is not against what, sir? Public interest. Now if it is event based, sir, okay, and your triggers triggers after filing. Now pardon with my writing, sir, so thoda hand problem I'm having, sir. If that event triggers after filing of sanction of scheme with ROC under section 232 subsection 5, sir, if this condition is fulfilled, then sir, from the date of sanctions, from the date of occurrence of event, from the date of occurrence of event, within 30 days you have to make filing with whom, sir? ROC. So can I say this filing was done to tell ROC his sanction has over? This filing is done to tell ROC scheme is now effective. This is what it is. This is what your MCA ka circular is, sir. Okay, now I hope entire thing is clear, sir. Now एक छोटा सा point further I would like to add, sir. If you are studying your FR paper, sir, definitely you will study, sir. In your FR paper you will be having one Ind AS standard, which is Ind AS 103, sir, which talks about business combinations. Okay, so अगर आपने देखा होगा सर business combination standard, you might have seen all those things are called paras in that standard, sir. Now in the circular what also was mentioned was this point, sir. The appointed date identified under the scheme matlab scheme of merger amalgamation and merger amalgamation reconstruction shall also be deemed to be the acquisition date and the date of transfer of control for the purposes of conforming the accounting standard, which is Ind AS 103, sir. What he is trying to say, sir, now dhyan se sunna, sir. In law we are using a word appointed date. In law we are using a word appointed date, sir. In your Ind AS 103 which you are studying, sir, now I did also go through that standard thoda, not completely but little aspect I have gone through, sir. In that standard if you observe, sir, you will be finding first we have to find out something called acquisition date. Okay, and there is something also called as closure date or close date also is there, sir. Okay, agar aapne dekha ho Ind AS standard 103, sir. Okay, now so what I will do, sir, some snaps of Ind AS 103 also I have included it here, sir. So just first a rough reading let's have, sir. Paragraph number 4 of Ind AS 103, what does it say, sir? An entity shall account for each business combination. Now what do you mean by business combination, sir? What we are calling as merger amalgamation reconstruction, there they are calling as business combination. So an entity shall account for each business combination by applying, so there is one method, acquisition method, you have to follow for doing accounting for whenever the combination has happened. Very good. Paragraph number 5, applying the acquisition method requires, meaning if you want to apply acquisition method for accounting, sir, then you should in hand have clarity on these aspects. So aspect number A, B, C, D. Now sir, point number A, first you should identify who is your acquirer. Now can I say accounting standards hai, and they will be now having some other terms, sir. In our company law if you read, sir, we have two types of company, either transferor or transferee. Transferee is the buyer company, transferor is the seller company, sir. Buyer company, transferee, sir. Sir, here they are calling this as acquirer. So can I say whom we call as a transferee in our case is acquirer in the case of what, sir? Your Ind AS standard, sir. Now from where did I get this clarity, sir? Sir, in the same standard when I referred para number 7, that gave me the clarity. What? Acquirer means the entity that obtains control of another entity. So can I say who will acquire the control of another entity? Obviously the transferee company, sir. Can I say transferor company is transferring all the assets? If at all you take our Jio plus Airtel is equal to Geotel ka example, so can I say here your acquirer is nothing but Geotel. Is this point clear or not, sir? Okay, now acquiree is what, sir? Acquiree is nothing but your transferor company, the company which is losing its control, sir. Next, sir, most important word in this paragraph was what, sir? Acquisition method mein if you want to do accounting, clarity of you should have acquirer, clarity of acquisition date is also required. So your most of the accounting treatment will depend on what, sir? Acquisition date. Now remaining things I'm not interested. Then I went on your para number 8, determining the acquisition date. Now the acquirer shall identify the acquisition date, which is the date on which it मतलब क्या sir, acquirer, which is the date on which it obtains control over the acquirer. Meaning, in your Ind AS standard, sir, we should first know what is the acquisition. And what is the acquisition date? It is the date on which buyer acquires full control on whom? Full control on whom, sir? Seller, sir. So simple logic it is, sir. Imagine if there is a seller company and if there is a buyer company. In our law language, there is a transferor company, there is a transferee company, sir. Sir, example also I took in our class was ing Vaisya and what do you say, Kotak, sir. So can I say ING Vaisya is giving off all their assets liabilities to whom, sir? Kotak, sir. Now, sir, can I say this company is called acquiree company as per your accounting standards, and this company is called as what, sir? Acquirer company as per your accounting standards. Law के हिसाब से this is a transferee company, this is a transferor company, sir. Now, when it is said that this company will have full command on this company, sir, that particular date is called as acquisition date. That particular date is called as acquisition date, sir. I hope you understood this point, sir. Okay, so don't you think for accounting purposes, Ind AS standard के purposes से 103 business combination purpose से it is super important for a student or any practicing professional to find out which date is called acquisition date, sir, है ना? Because this is the date on which seller company will lose their control and buyer company will acquire their control. Now, MCA circular में what is written, sir? Whatever acquisition date which you want in Ind AS standard, which is 103 business combination, for an accounting purposes, sir, this law में this is the date, which date? Appointed date, है ना? So appointed date will be your acquisition date as per FR. So whatever is written in Companies Act, sir, this will be the date for your FR purposes also, sir. And what is appointed date? Can I say appointed date can be a specific calendar date or a date but based on a particular event, whatever is mentioned in the scheme, sir. If it is a specific calendar date, can I say it can be before the application also, after the application? If it is before the application, if it is significantly antedated, sir, which is more than 1 year, as a situation में justification plus it should be in the public interest. You have to prove that, sir. And can I say if it is event based, है ना? So I told you, sir, if at all your event triggers after the what do you say, filing of after the date of filing of sanctioned compromise oblique arrangement scheme with ROC, sir, then again within 30 days from the date of triggering of that event, you have to file an application. So can I say everything is interlinked, है ना? So everything is interlinked, sir. And though para number 9 is not that important, sir, maybe sometimes this may confuse you, but still I would like to tell you, sir. Sir, in AS 103 वाले standard में two dates are selected, sir. One is your acquisition date, and they also talk about closing date. They also talk about closing date. What do you mean by closing date, sir? Without seeing that, sir, closing मतलब क्या? Whatever works which were required to be done as per the scheme of compromise oblique arrangement, entire thing is done. What do you mean by works to be done, sir? Simple है, all the assets has to be transferred, all the liabilities has to be transferred, whatever is a purchase consideration has to be paid, sir. Agreed or not, sir? Sir, when this all three things happens, then this is called closure date, or you can say close date. You can see paragraph number 9, sir. The date on which acquirer obtains control, the date on which acquirer obtains control of the acquiree is generally the date on which the acquirer legally transfers the consideration. Acquirer मतलब क्या, sir? Buyer, that is nothing but in our case transferee company gives the consideration, acquires the asset, assumes the liability, sir. In other words, all assets of transferor company becomes our asset, liabilities of transferor company becomes our liability, and we pay the purchase consideration. Can I say simple way, this is a executed contract. They were also supposed to do something, I was also supposed to do something. This date is what I call as closing date. This date is what I mean by closing date. Now, what is your standard saying, sir? Generally, most important word it is, generally acquisition date is closing date, generally, sir, but not always. That is what second point is saying, sir. However, acquirer might obtain control on a date that is either earlier or later the date of what, sir? Closing date, sir. है ना? So closing date मतलब purchase consideration is given, asset is given, liabilities are set. This is closing date, sir. The date on which all this happens is a closing date. But sir, it is possible that your acquisition date can be before the closure date also, after the closure date also. And this practical examples I have already shown you in our above wala classes, sir. I hope you understood. So here linkage with your Ind AS standard was also required, sir. See, when you read your FR paper, can I say mostly, so this particular aspect of company law, so definitely your faculty will be not calling you, sir. What he will be generally talking about, ki bhaiya this is there in your what you say company law paper section 232 पढ़ लेना, खेल खत्म दुकान पर. So at least I thought कि चलो भाई है ना एक बार let us see that standard also what it is saying. Otherwise in our circular also it was same. What was mentioned, sir? The appointed date identified under the scheme shall also be deemed to be the acquisition date. मतलब whatever is appointed date for company law purposes, the same will be acquisition date for FR Ind AS 103 purposes. So that is what it was mentioned. Okay. So I guess you got now crystal clear clarity, sir. At least I have repeated the same points for 3 words, 3 times, sir. Now you may be wondering, sir, on this particular aspect, itna detailed lecture was required. Sir, practical world mein, this is super important, sir. Because when you are doing accounting, sir, most of the treatments will depend on this particular dates. है ना? इसके ऊपर entire things will happen. Sir, on this your income tax also will be affecting, sir. Okay, how many years ka losses will be carry forwarded, etc will all depend on what, sir? This acquisition date FR purposes के लिए, and law में this date is called as appointed date. Clear है बच्चा? So that ends the entire summary of section 232 subsection 6, and also indirectly we have revised 232 subsection 5 also. Okay, thank you very much.